Is this thing on? Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Radik here from the Sidekick University. In today's video, it's going to be the second episode of this series that I decided to start. It's right here. It's called Unfiltered Life and Business Q&A featuring the subscribers, which is you guys. So pretty much you guys send me some business and life-related questions, and I'll give you my input and my unfiltered advice. So if you guys are interested in watching that, just you can find the playlist right there. Before I get started, as you can see, I got a new microphone. I'm assuming that audio is going to be a little bit different, hopefully better than my other videos because I wasn't using good audio. So if you guys could let me know how the audio is, if it's too low, if it's not good enough, just let me know in the description so I can try and improve my content overall. Before I start answering these questions, I'm just going to read through this real quick to see what's going on with this guy. And I've left out all his personal information because I don't think it's fair to just put his stuff on the internet like this. So let's get started. So he said, so my dropshipping journey started years ago. I had some beginner success and made 30K in Q4 of 2021 selling the dog toy. That's impressive, actually. Unfortunately, because I didn't do my due diligence, the quality was awful and I had returns that wiped out all the money I made. I took a break because I started falling into depression, got cheated on by my girlfriend of 5 years. Anyways, I started getting my mental health back slowly over the last few years, and recently I started getting back into ecom. I've been designing my store and tried to focus on branding instead of selling garbage Chinese products. So I guess you can say I'm starting off in a clean slate now. What would your suggestion be to someone in my position? I'm struggling with balancing everything. I am considering just going all in on ecom and say no to everything else. No going out, no social media, just work full time, just work my job full time, just work my full-time job, exercise, and work on ecom. I came across Alex Homos's advice on this concept of the S&me 500, the S&me 500. Instead of diverting your attention on investing, just take all the capital and allocate it into your self-education to get the skills to increase your income, as the return investment will be far greater than the return investment from stocks. I say that because I'm considering selling my Tesla position of 19K, currently at break even. I have 31K cash on hand. This was my first step as I was going to start looking for a mentor to guide me, and I figured that would require money. Fuck, man, this is such a complicated question to answer. So I'm going to answer all of these questions in the order that they're received. So let's get started. So to summarize this right now, from what I can see, the first paragraph, he's saying that he had some success back in Q4 of 2021 selling a dog toy. He made 30 grand. That's a good amount of money starting out, 10K a month in revenue. I don't know how much profits that he had and got wiped out, but I think that's impressive. And it's good that you did that. Now that you had the refunds and everything, you don't have that money now or the profits. You realize that the product was bad. You know what the problem is, so you can go out there and fix it. All you have to do, if I don't know if you're in the same niche, but if I were in your position, all I would do is vet, or just not vet, talk with other suppliers before you start drop shipping again. Order them yourself and test out the products. If you have a pet, buy the things and bring them over so your dog can check them out. So your dog can check out these things and see how good they are, how they hold up. But I think you have a good starting position. So if you're in a position right now where you're rebuilding the same business or the same brand to sell the similar products, I think you have a good starting point because one, you already tested and know that this product is in demand by the market. You managed to sell $30,000 worth of it in 3 months, which is impressive if you're just starting out. Two, you know that that niche is also viable. The only thing that you need to fix is the product. The quality of the product is all you need. I would just work on the quality of the product right now, and that would be my goal. I wouldn't, blame the Chinese manufacturers and stuff like that because a lot of the stuff, from China, a lot of them are just like crappy products in general. And I'm just gonna say this, like, I did this in the past, and I also got burnt by the same situation where I was selling products that I haven't seen or drop shipping in the beginning and realized that I can't properly quality control or quality check these things before I put them out. So if I were in your position right now, I would find all the products related to that niche that you were selling in your dog toys and order a bunch of them and see which one has the best, highest quality and focus on selling those. I wouldn't, branding is also important, but I would focus on the quality since that was your main downfall. But you know that there's a demand out there for these products. So that shouldn't be too difficult of a thing for you to do right now. Let's go to the next section. He said that he's struggling to balance everything and he's considering going all in on ecom and saying no to everything else. I think that's a great idea. depending on the position that you're in. I don't know what else you're working with besides just working, but I would say since you're not starting out, I'm assuming that you've already tested multiple different sources of income. You've probably tried, obviously, you've tried dropshipping. I don't know what else you've tried, but if you found that you had the most success with dropshipping, or this is something that you would like to pursue long term, 100%, 100% go all in. I don't know about like going or taking things to an extreme because this might sound like a good idea up front, just cutting everything off, just doing nothing else but just working on your business, going to work, going to the gym and everything else. But also this can send you back spiraling into depression. I don't know. I've tried to do this multiple times and it worked out well for me, but also I'm an introvert and I'm fine with not seeing people for multiple months on end. Like I've done this plenty of times in my life. I don't need other people in my life or an outside source of well anything to continue living my life. But if you know that you can handle being alone and not having communication with your friends and family and stuff like that, and just keep your head down and work on your thing, go ahead and do it, man. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. I 100% support that. Definitely cutting off social media is going to make a big difference. That was a major distraction for me, especially on YouTube, because most of what I do includes me being on YouTube all day, and I definitely, have my fair share of dealing with or struggling with distractions. So, yeah, definitely cutting off social media and just really focusing on ecom. I wouldn't, yeah, just start there and see how it goes. You can adjust over time. It also comes down to a balance. Like if you feel like you need to go out, to just blow off some steam every now and then, go ahead and do that, man. But when it comes down to it, it depends on what you're struggling to balance. I don't know everything else that's on your plate because you didn't mention it, but if you're struggling, if you think you can cut off a bunch of things and just be fine, go ahead and do that. Let's move on to the section where he said, I came across Alex Hormoz's advice in his concept of the S&me 500. Instead of diverting your attention and investing, just take all the capital and allocate it in yourself and education. Yes, I 100% agree with that. And I found myself falling into this trap as well, even though I am making outsized return on my business right now. But let me, I'm going to try to explain this to the best of my possibilities. I consider myself to be a risk taker. And the more money I make, the safer I find myself playing things a little bit too safe. So instead of like, let's say I make $20,000 in 1 month, like instead of taking that money and reinvest it in my business, like buying new inventory, reaching out and partnering with new influencers, like acquiring new, I don't know, other businesses that's going to build up my business. I find myself putting that money into safer places, safer investment, just because I have a fear of loss now. Like I don't know where that came from, and I don't want it to be a new trait in my personality, but I need to break out of that habit of like worrying about losing the money. But also on the flip side of that, I would rather have my money invested in something else versus just sitting in cash and losing value. Obviously, you're still going to keep cash on the side, but I'd rather have my money actively invested in something else that even if it doesn't grow as fast, it's still growing at a pace versus the depreciated rate of cash itself. So that's something to take into account. But I 100% agree with what Alex is saying about the S&Me 500 about investing yourself versus stocks. Because look at it this way: in my business, if I let's say I was just making an extra $1,000 a month, I'm just taking home 1 grand a month. If I were supposed to take that money and put it into stocks, the average rate of return is probably 8 to 10% a year on a good year. At least that's what I believe the average is. So I'm making 8 to 10% in the regular stock market. I'm not talking about Tesla. So the regular S&P 500, I'm making that return per year. So in 1 year, I'm making $80. Versus if I choose to take a risk and start my own business, I can make outsized return by hundreds, if not thousands of percent. And I can do this example with my business right now. So if I have an extra $1,000 laying around, put it in a company, um, versus investing that in my business, I know that if I have that $1,000, I can get XYZ amount of inventory, sell that for 10 times more, and turn that $1,000 into $10,000. When I take the profits from that, which is probably $6,000 to $7,000, I can do the same and flip it again. Then you get to $50,000, then you get to 100,000, then you get to 200,000. Versus doing that in the stock market, it's going to take forever from $1,000. So that's my, I guess that's my 2 cents on the S&Me 500. And yeah, I think that's great advice, man. Definitely look into that. Also, can't technically give you financial advice on your 19K in Tesla, and I'm all about taking risk and going all in on things that you believe in. But if you only have 30, I shouldn't say only, if you have $31,000 cash on hand and 40% of your, I don't know if this is all of your net worth, but 40% of your money is tied up in Tesla, I think that's a that's some high commitment. You do believe a lot in Tesla. So my questions for you is, if you know the ins and out of Tesla and you believe so strongly that Tesla is going to do so well that this $19,000 investment makes sense, then by all means keep your investment. I don't know how long you've been holding Tesla. I don't know if you're going to be paying extra taxes when you sell stuff like that. But just consider, if you're parking that 19 grand in Tesla, it's pretty much just saying the only reason why I would park $19,000 into something if I believe it's going to 10x. That's the only reason. If I believe I can't do it, okay. So here's my thoughts on investment. When it comes down to your 19K in Tesla, the only way I'm going to be putting that percentage of my income or my net worth in cash in an investment is if I am like almost 100% certain that that company that I'm investing in is going to provide outsized return versus what I can do for myself. Because there's no way in hell I'm going to put $40,000 of my net worth into one company and taking a risk like that versus putting that into my own business, or building something for myself. Like, I would much rather take that risk on myself versus another company. No, I'm not saying that I don't invest in stocks and companies that I believe in, but if you have 31K in cash and $19,000 in Tesla, which is 40%, that's that's a lot. I'm not saying to sell anything right now. I would just say sell when you need to sell. If you don't need to use that entire $19,000 at once, just let it be until you really need to use it. But definitely, if it comes down to it, I would sell off some of the investment to build my business if I were in your position. And he said his last step was looking for a mentor. I don't think, okay, so I don't, let me get this, let me straighten this out for you guys, because ever since I started posting these kind of videos now, I've been getting more and more comments and emails and questions on my Instagram and Facebook about, well, he said it right there at the top as well, like people asking me if I do mentorship for money. And the only reason why I'm not really doing it right now is because, one, I don't need the money, and I don't like the idea of selling my time, like directly exchanging my time for money. But I don't think you should seek to find a mentor before you start doing something. I think a mentor really comes in handy if you're already actively doing something and you hit a roadblock. So you find someone who's a little bit ahead of you, or maybe a lot ahead of you, and you give it to them straight. You don't necessarily have to provide value to them. You can just ask them real questions about things that could help you that you're not able to figure out on your own. Now, I don't know what that is for you. I don't know where you're at right now. You said, well, I don't know where you're at with your business right now. You just said you're building, so I don't know what you would need a mentor for. You already know how to build a website. You already know how to run ads. You sold $30,000 worth of stuff. You can do it again. The only thing that you need to do is find better products and sell that, and probably look into diversifying where you're putting your money. And I mean, you do have a lot of cash on hand, so that shouldn't be something to worry about. I think you're going to be just fine if you actually, just like you said, take the time and cut off the things that aren't necessary or important in your life at the moment, and just focus on this one thing full time. Now, that's actually harder. It's easier said than done, because even me, I try to do this. Like, I try to put myself and sit down for the whole day and just work on my ecom business. It's For me, that's almost impossible. There's so many other things that come up during the day or that just distract me. But if you're able to just work consistently on your business for that time, there's no, I don't want to say there's no way, but there's probably a slim chance that you will fail. And you do have the capital and the knowledge and know-how to actually get to where you want to be. So yeah, I think you're gonna be fine, man. The only thing that I think you really need to focus on right now is finding better products, because I know I made a video recently about um, not picking products, but in this stage, you do need to find better quality products. As it's very evident that you need better quality products. So instead of going to AliExpress, I'm assuming that's where you were doing your dropshipping from, or CJ dropshipping, go directly to Alibaba. You can post listings on Alibaba to request products to be made or have them send you samples. So I do this for my products in the month. I go there, I find the product. By the way, you can go on Amazon if you find a product that is actually doing good and you don't know where to find a supplier. You can just take a screenshot or the URL of that product from anywhere it is and the photos and post a request on Alibaba, and they'll be able to look at the product, tell you if they can actually replicate it or make it from scratch or just source it for you, and they'll go ahead and do that. All you have to do is, it's going to be a little more expensive upfront because you have to pay for the one-time sample to be made and then have it shipped to you and everything, so you can see how the quality is. But besides that, I think that's a great way of finding new products. That's exactly what I do with my own store, because I realize that the quality on AliExpress, they're just drop shipping you shit from Alibaba at the end of the day. Um, when it comes to the relationship stuff, that I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this, but I'm in a very similar situation at the moment, which I haven't talked about this with many people, but I'm actively going through a divorce for the same reason, and I can 100% understand what you're going with your mental health. Good on you for getting back on track. I don't know why it took you so long, but for anyone else, if you're out there going through some shit like this, man, it's really just a part of life. At this point, I'm about to be 28 years old, and fuck it, I keep it real with you guys. I'm about to be 28 right now. I've slept with close to 200 women in the past 10, 11 years. And what I've noticed with women is that I don't want to just say women. That's pretty sexist. Fuck it. I don't know. I don't have any other I don't have any other perspective. What I've noticed with women is that it doesn't seem it seems like the more fuck. How do it seems like the more you try to make someone else happy, the worse it is for your relationship. So from now on, I don't know if you already learned your lesson from that relationship, but what I've learned from this relationship is never fucking again in my life am I going to put someone else's happiness above my happiness. I'm just going to focus on me, and if this person just so happened to fit into my life or my time or my schedule, I'll put them there. But besides that, I'm not going to invest my time and my energy focusing on someone that, yeah, man, just focus on you. That's it. Just focus on you, and you'll be good. All right. Hopefully that was helpful to you guys. Peace.